We want to welcome you here to the first annual fashion show. First ever fashion show. My name is Michael Urso. I'm a corporal with DuPage County Sheriff's Office. What we do is we do a lot of this. Sheriff Zaruba allows us to talk to the public, educate seniors, put a lot of education out there. There's always different crimes. These criminals are very resourceful. And so what they do is they start new crimes, and so we figure out a way to help you guys not become a victim. On behalf of the Naperville and Lisle Townships, Naperville-Lisle Township Triad, the Village of Lisle and Lisle Police Department, DuPage County Sheriff's Office, and John Zaruba, and the Lisle Park District, we want to welcome you here to the first annual fashion show. First ever fashion show. We have a VIP out here today, Marty Bates, right there. Marty Bates, next week, 103 years old. Marty Bates, very good. He looks better than my partner here, I'm telling you. So, very good, Marty. Congratulations. How many people here have ever heard of TRIAD? Who has heard of TRIAD? Let's see you raise your hands. Oh, quite a few of you. Very good. If you have not heard of TRIAD, TRIAD consists of several different agencies, one of them being the DuPage County Sheriff's Office, Naperville and Lisle Police Departments, Lisle Woodridge Fire Department, Naperville and Lisle Townships, senior service organizations, and of course, seniors. So the reason that we have all this together, this presentation today, is to educate seniors about gypsy scams and traveler scams. And we're going to get into that a little later on and explain exactly what they are. They're very similar, but they are somewhat different as well. Certain police reports that I want to talk about that we take on a daily basis. Just like Chief Cruz mentioned, ruse entries. Ruse is actually a trick that is used to fool somebody. So this is an ongoing problem. This is something we see all the time. Certain times of the year it's a little more common than others. In the spring, that's when we see an increase of this, and we'll explain why a little later on. Why are crimes targeted towards seniors? Gypsies and travelers are taught from a very young age to go after seniors. It's in their culture. It's actually, some people say it's part of the religion. It depends who you talk to, where they have their own interpretation, where there was a story that came out, and this is the history of a gypsy. A lot of people don't know this. Our unit has researched this quite a bit. Back when Jesus Christ was supposed to get crucified, one of the gypsies stole one of the spikes. This spike was supposed to go through the heart of Jesus. And the gypsies actually stole that spike, and so from that point on, Jesus has forgiven gypsies from any future and past thievery because they stole that spike. This is what they believe. This is what they teach their kids, and they really believe that this is true, so it excuses them from going to your house and making you a victim just to fill their pockets. They know that seniors have money and valuables in their homes. Seniors are usually home during the day. You always answer the door. And they like to target seniors because seniors don't like calling the police. You guys, if you don't want to see the police in your driveway, you don't want your neighbors to see the police in your driveway, I should say, and you don't want your children to think that you lost your independence if you are a victim of one of these ruse entries. So this is a big reason why seniors are targeted. This is what we have been informed by different gypsy organizations and what they have told us. These are our different organizations that are involved in our Naperville-Lisle Triad. Who are the offenders? Traveling criminals who specialize in ruse burglaries. Spring is normally the time of year when gypsies and travelers come out and target the elderly. The reason that spring is the number one targeted time of year is because kids are at school. Most households are two-income households, so both mom and dad are working. Everybody is looking for, I want to beautify my yard, I got to clean up the leaves, that roof needs a repair, I have to redo my driveway. There's a lot of things that have to get done. So the travelers and the gypsies, they know this. They use this time of year, and they come up from where they live, and then they start knocking on doors and trying to get entry to your house. The kind of crimes that we're dealing with, these ruse entry crimes, they are, most of the times, the gypsies and travelers. It's actually, and I'll explain travelers exactly what they are, but you're probably wondering, travelers, I travel all the time. No. This is a little different. Talking about the Irish travelers, there's something I wanted to touch base on about them. I did a lot of research, and I've taken a few classes through the police department. The Irish travelers are actually, they have a big community in South Carolina. You would not believe this setup they have. They have a little town that's pretty much dedicated to them. Now, they have about, I want to say like 5 or 6 mansion-sized houses. These houses have like property, acres and acres behind them. And behind those properties, they have all these trailers, this huge trailer park. And that's where all the Irish travelers go during the winter months. During winter, they hang out here, they live in their trailer, they have to pay the heads of the family of the Irish travelers, and they, of course, have to pay for those houses, the property, but they get to live in that area. And this is a way of life for them as well. We're noticing that they're actually moving to Ohio now, so they're staying in Ohio during the winter. But once springtime comes, in the winter time, but once springtime comes, they're out here and they each have their own areas. A guy would say, hey, I have Naperville, Illinois. I have the southern part of Naperville. I have Lisle. I have Woodridge. They actually have their same areas that they go to. They know where to go. They know the areas, and they have tested it out over and over and over. So they have been very successful. I'll tell you what, if this organization started a business, they'd probably be very successful because they are very good at what they do. A way to describe the Irish travelers. They're normally described as Anglo features, so European, I guess, if you would, or they're not going to be dark complected. They're not going to be mistaken for a gypsy. They're actually, they're Irish travelers. That's what they are. There's no mistaking who they are. Their hair could be any color. It could be red. It could be brown. Could be bald. Could be anybody. This vehicle right here is a typical vehicle that a gypsy would use. You ever see those guys going around blacktopping driveways? Okay, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of times, these guys, they don't have blacktop in there. They have some used motor oil. Yeah, they put a little oil from the machine that looks like it's going to spread blacktop, and they say, hey, we're going to give you this unbelievable deal. I will blacktop your driveway, which is a 10-car driveway. I will blacktop it for $100. And the people are like, oh, that's unbelievable. Okay, let's do it. They spray used motor oil on there, and you think, oh, it's great. You pay the guy $100, and he says, it was more than I thought it was going to be. You know what? I use a lot of material. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to charge you $200. And the people are like, no, we agreed on $100. The guy's like, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to call the police. And now he's acting like he's the victim. I'm going to call the police. I'm telling you, I use more product than what I thought it was going to be. Your driveway was in bad shape. Your driveway was in terrible shape. I have to charge you $200. I'll tell you what, let's agree on $150. The senior's like, okay, goes inside, breaks out her $150 and pays the guy. And then later on, she sees that it doesn't dry 3 days later, or the rain comes and it washes it all over her grass. Very common. You'll normally see a lot of out-of-state registrations. These guys they travel from state to state. If you ever see this, call 911, call the sheriff's office, call your local police department. It's okay. Dispatchers will not get upset at you. If you call 911 and say, look, I don't know if this is an emergency or not. However, I think I have a guy here I think he's either a gypsy or a traveler trying to sell me some blacktop that's not blacktop. We love those calls. We love to identify them. At the very least, we identify them, and we know that if any future crimes happen in that area, we know who to go to, that guy that was right there in your driveway, because you called us. That's what we want from you. Traveler, on the other hand, travelers, you'll see high-end trucks. You'll see full-size pickup trucks. They look like very professional contractors in a way. And they're very sneaky. They're very sneaky. 95% of this is Monday through Friday. Why? Because most people are working. So we don't have that nosy neighbor looking out the window during the day, Monday through Friday, at between 7 to noon. They're bringing their kids to school. They're going to work. So we want that nosy neighbor. We kind of want that person who looks out for us in a way. Not too nosy, you know. We don't want them all in our business, but we want them to know who should be coming and going. It's important. And it's good that you're a nosy neighbor as well. If you see something suspicious at your neighbor's house, across the street, you drive by a certain area every day and you see something going on, it's okay. Call 911. Of course, pull over, not while you're driving, but call 911. I don't know if this is an emergency. However, I see something very suspicious. My neighbor they're working all day long, and I see a pickup truck or a van or people walking around her house, whatever the case. Be a good witness. Try and get a license plate if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it.
Like I said before, gypsies and travelers, it's generational. It goes from generation to generation to generation. Each previous generation treats the next one or trains the next one to be gypsies. So what is it? A ruse or an act or a trick. What they do is they leave the victim and isolate them, and then the partners come in and silently take property within the house. And while the bad person is keeping the senior occupied outside the house, look who's inside the house.
The other bad person.
The other bad person. Sliding across into the bedroom, sliding out with the jewelry and the cash. Okay. When someone knocks at your door, don't open it up unless you know who the visitor is.
We do encourage you to let them know that somebody's inside the house. Some people think that maybe I shouldn't even answer the door, let them know I'm home. Wrong. Let them know that you're home, but do not open the door. Who is it? What do you want? Oh, I'm here with the water company. I didn't call the water company. What do you want? I'm not opening my door. As soon as they get that door open, they know they try and muscle their way in there. Okay, so just be very careful as far as that goes. Look through your peephole. You know, or if you don't have a peephole, have one installed in on your door. If a person says that they're a salesman, ask for that identification, credentials, slip it under the door through the mail slot. If they say they're from Comcast, Nightcore, it's okay for you to call Comcast and Nightcore to double check who they are. Call the employer, like I said, call the employer's business, or once again, call the police. We encourage you to call the police. We have no problem checking out these people. And also these utility workers, these Comcast guys, they know. They get police called on them pretty much on a daily basis. So no, it's okay. That's what we want. They're like, oh yeah, nice to see you again, officer. Here's my ID. So they're used to it. So they're not going to feel offended about it. Never open a door. If someone comes to your door you do not trust, you believe might be dangerous, call your local police or sheriff's office. Do you let them in? Okay, do you let them in? Thank you very much. All right.
It's a city water department. There's water problems in the neighborhood. I need to come in and look at your water.
Hold on.
Well, hurry up. There's water problems all over. There's flooding. There's massive confusion in the neighborhood. I need to come into the house and take a look at your water flow. Yeah, I need, where's your main water flow? All right, let's go take a look. You're lovely today. Are you going out soon shopping? I see you're moving pretty quick today, huh? Yeah. So where's the water flow come from? Right over there? Yeah, we need to take a look at that over there. Oh, yeah, I'll help you. Okay, there you go. So is this where the water comes out?
Right, this is where the water comes out.
Where's the hot water come out?
Oh, right here.
Does it always come out like this?
Yeah.
Where's the cold water come from?
Oh, right here.
Does it always come out like that?
And then there's some stuff underneath the sink.
There's stuff down here. Let's take a look. Is this how the water pressure works all the time? Okay. Do you have sinks anywhere else in the house?
Oh, bathroom.
Yeah. Do you notice any problem with those other sinks? Because there's problems throughout the neighborhood. Do you know what could be causing that problem?
No, you're supposed to know.
Well, no, we're checking the houses. There must be a problem in your house that's causing a problem for the neighborhood.
Oh, really? In my house? Oh, well, I don't know.
You don't feel bad about what you're doing to the neighborhood? You might be doing something wrong with your water, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, really? Well, what should I do?
Well, we're going to... Oh, hold on. I'm getting a call. Hold on a second. Might be headquarters, okay? Hello? Great. Thanks for the update. You know what? They found the problem, so we're good to go. So thank you very much. We'll see you.
Just stay for some coffee. I just baked a cake.
No, that's okay. I really need to go. Nice seeing you again. Bye now.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Hi, everyone. Okay, first of all, should she have opened that door? No. Right, very easy answer. Now everybody saw all sides of that. What's going on? You saw her come to the door. You saw the guy distract her with the very loud running water. Then you saw the bad guy come in. So you saw everything. She only saw the guy coming in who she's trying to help. She's home all day eating her cookies and drinking her coffee. So she was just enjoying her day. And here he is, victim. So making a victim out of her. So first up, we have Lisle Police Department. So can each of you introduce yourselves and tell us exactly what you do and who you work for? Actually, we're going to start with the deputy chief here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is Ron. I'm the deputy chief, or one of the two deputy chiefs at Lisle Police Department.
My name is Officer Cindy McKay, the patrol officer.
Not Chuck. No.
My name is Dennis Rucker. I'm the program director for a new Volunteers for Lisle program that we just started recently.
Good morning. I am a Community Service Officer at DuPage.
Well, thank you all for coming out here today. And you can't say just patrol officer, because that's a very important duty. Okay, now, this question's for all of you. Any one of you could answer this question, but is there ever a time when you would show up at somebody's house unannounced? And I'm actually going to give this to the patrol officer.
There would be a time that we could come to your house unannounced, actually multiple times. Just to give you an example, is sometimes people accidentally dial 911. You might not even have known you dialed it, so we still come to your house. Our dispatcher might call you back, and if they can't get a hold of you, we're still coming to check to make sure everything's okay. We'll knock on your door, we'll explain that somebody accidentally dialed 911. We'll have the phone number where it came from, so we can explain that all to you.
Would you ever need to get inside somebody's home? Cindy?
Using the same example as the 911. You might not have known that you called 911, so we want to come, we want to make sure you're okay. Other instances, somebody could have called 911, there could have been some kind of domestic between a spouse, family members, anything like that. When we get to the door, they tell us everything's okay. Well, we like to verify everything's okay, so we'll ask to come in just to see where everybody is, or to make sure somebody didn't break into your house. You call 911, they're telling you to say everything's okay. So we like to come in, make sure everything is okay.
What is the average uniform that a person would wear for Lisle Police Department? Chief?
Okay, as you see, we brought a variety of people here so you can see all the different uniforms, and we have one that's not here, and I'll explain that a little bit. But most of the time, the people you encounter from the Lisle Police Department are going to have this dark navy blue uniform. Sometimes you'll see, like, it'll be embroidered with police on the back. Sometimes it won't, but all the times it'll have a badge and a name tag up here, and we will have our credentials with us. You also see, as Ed said, the tan, that's the newer one. We used to have light blue shirts and the same pants, but we went to a nice tan uniform, tan brown. So he also, you will see the patches on the side that say either police or community service officer and Lisle. There it is. Dennis, for our volunteers, will be modeling, not right now, but we're getting the uniforms because it's a new program, but they will be about the color of his slacks, will be his shirt, much like DuPage County's volunteer program back there. It'll be a light gray, so you may see that coming with or without a police officer accompanying them. But it will say something either Lisle Police Emergency Management or a Volunteers for Lisle. Okay, again, they will have some kind of identification on them. And the last one you might see is sometimes our investigators or detectives and our administrators have a little bit more of a business casual look. They may wear a black polo, and that will also say Lisle Police Department with their last name on it. And they should also have probably a gun and a badge on them. So you will also be able to tell them. But as I said before, anytime you have any of those, feel free to call 911, call our police department to verify that we truly are who we say we are.
Okay, very good. And about the vehicle, what does it look like and where would you park it?
Oh, this one's for me?
Yeah, it is.
All right. Did you want this one? Okay. We have a variety of squad cars, but each of our squad cars is clearly labeled.
Louder.
We have a variety of squad cars. Each of our squad cars is very clearly labeled Lisle Police or Lisle Community Service Officer. And we have vehicles that are clean on top with no lights, but each one should have the village insignia on the side. We have black and white squads, we have white squads, and they're all clearly marked.
Hey, 1 second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sometimes we also have our detectives or investigators have plain unmarked cars. And we always don't park in front. You might look out your window and not see the police car or the unmarked police car. Sometimes, depending on the situation, we might park down the street. Again, if you have any hesitation, if you don't know who we are, just call 911 and they'll verify, yes, we do have a police officer at your residence. They're going to know where we are. And that will be your, to make yourself feel better. Okay?
All right. Lisle, thank you very much. Lisle Police Department.
My name is Barb Anthony. I'm with DuPage County Animal Control, and I'm their enforcement supervisor. Better? Okay.
Thank you, Barb. I know Barb. She could actually talk louder than that. So, is there ever a time when you would show up at somebody's house unannounced?
Yes, most of the time we do show up unannounced. It's based on a complaint made by a neighbor or a passerby in reference to an animal.
Very good. And would you ever need to get inside somebody's home?
Occasionally, yes, we would need to enter your home if we need to check on the living conditions of the animals or the general health of the animals.
And if someone doesn't want to let you in their home because they're not sure of your credentials, they never seen your uniform before, is it okay for them to call 911 or their local police department, non-emergency, and have them respond?
Absolutely. You can always verify we are who we are, and we always do carry our identification with us.
What is the average uniform that a person would wear for the animal control?
Typically, we would just wear what you see here, t-shirt, pants. We do always have our badges on us. There is usually a badge on our t-shirt. Weather permitting, we may be wearing hoodies or winter coats. We do after-hours calls, so sometimes we may show up in what we call street clothes, jeans, shorts, t-shirts. At that time, normally we do have a representative for another agency or police department with us.
Very good. And do you always have your identification with you?
Yes, always.
Always?
Always.
All right. And lastly, about the vehicle. What does it look like, and where would you park it when responding to a call?
The animal control officers drive large white vans. They are clearly marked, DuPage County Animal Control on the sides. Depending on the situation, as to why we're at your home, we may park in the street, we may park in your driveway, we may park in your neighbor's driveway.
All right. Thank you very much. Barb from Animal Control.
Very entertaining, very entertaining.
Elvis.
Can you please introduce yourself to our group and tell them who you work for?
I am John Valenti. I work for the Village of Lisle Water Department as the foreman.
Ooh, big guy. Now, John, working for the water department, is there ever a time that you might have to show up to someone's home unannounced?
If we're doing any utility work, so water mains, other departments, sanitaries, maybe some tree work in your parkway, but we will never have to get into the home unless you make an appointment. Always stress. If you don't feel like answering the door, we will hang a tag on the door. If we need to repair a water meter, this is what it is and this is what it looks like. If you don't feel like answering the door and I tell you not to answer the door, we will post a repair tag. You can get it an hour, 2 hours after we leave. Call and make an appointment for us to come out.
Okay, very good. So you would never go into the home and all the work would be done outside?
That is correct. The only time we have to get into the home is to repair a water meter or replace it, but that can be done by appointment.
Very good. So you wouldn't do anything like what we saw in the skit?
No.
We're
picking on the water, guys.
And you know where the water comes out.
Yeah.
Where does your water come out?
Yeah.
It's a thing. What do you think? Now, what's the average uniform? You were someone from the Village of Lisle Water Department. What would you wear?
Okay, sure. Basically what I'm wearing now, some of the guys will be wearing polos, different colors, but it'll always have Lisle Arboretum Village embroidered on the top left. The guys that work out in the field mostly, that we send out, will be wearing this nice, bright, colorful lime green blinding with the same logo on the top left. They'll be wearing jeans with it, work boots. In the wintertime, it could be a long sleeve shirt like this with a sweatshirt, same colors. We're always in the safety green.
Very good. Do any of your uniform, parts of your uniform, does it have anything on the back at all, or is it mainly in the front?
Everything is all located in the front.
Okay, very good. What kind of identification do you and your fellow employees have with you when you go out to work?
We might not have lanyards on around our neck because it's more of a safety issue. With working in the field, you could choke from it. But we always carry this in a wallet. So if you ask for it, we should have it. If we don't, there's no coming in the house. You can always call Village Hall. You can always call the police department. Almost all of them know us to verify. But like I said, we can always make an appointment to come back. So that's not a problem. There is no rushing need for anybody to come rushing into your house.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Ken. What about vehicle description? What kind of vehicles and what exactly do they look like, and the color, and maybe a logo?
Our vehicles are mostly pickup trucks. They will be either white or a yellow. They will have the village logo. The same one that's on our shirts will be on that vehicle. There's no vehicle that is unmarked. They all have the logo on.
And when you respond to someone's home for a job or to work, where do you usually park the vehicle?
Usually the vehicle is parked right up front of the home. If we're doing a water main down the block and we need to shut off the water, maybe to a couple of houses by shutting down the main, guys will walk around and notify, your neighbors, yourself. But like I said, if you're not comfortable answering the door, talk through the door. And just tell them to yell, hey, we're shutting down your water for a little bit, nothing to worry about, it'll be up in a couple hours. Or we will leave a tag on the door stating that the water will be off.
Okay. Well, thank you, John, for coming here today. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
My name is Greg Bell, and I'm from Comcast.
And my name is Bob Gleason, also with Comcast.
Okay,
we both work in the security department.
Okay. Very good. Is there ever a time when you would show up at someone's home unannounced?
Usually not too often. About the only time that we may show up at your house unannounced, and particularly to come to your house, will be that if there's like a backflow problem as far as the communication with the cable and so forth. Predominantly, the majority work that a Comcast technician is going to be doing at your house is going to more than likely be outside. Unannounced, if you make an appointment, however, then yes, they're going to come in your house. But that's for an appointment only.
So when would you ever need to get into someone's home?
Generally, when we need to go into your home is when you've made an appointment and you're having an issue with your cable TV or your internet service that's provided by Comcast. Anytime that we do come to your house and are looking to come in, if you didn't make an appointment, feel free to call 1-800-COMCAST and the representative there will verify that we did send somebody to your house. But anytime you're uncomfortable with the representative or you didn't know that somebody was going to be there, you can call that number and they'll verify that it's a legitimate reason that they're there.
Thank you. What is the normal uniform or dress when you're doing service calls out in the
Okay, as Bob Gleason said, we're with security, so we don't have the normal attire. However, our technicians, they look something like you'll see from some of the other technicians that will come out here. They're going to have khaki or tan pants, and they're going to have either a red or a shirt that says Xfinity or Comcast on it. So it will have some sort of marking that will say Comcast, and it will be like, say, tan or khaki pants.
All right, what kind of different types of vehicles does Comcast use, and what kind of markings do they have, and where do they normally get parked on a call?
Typically, our technicians will be driving a van, usually white, but sometimes it's difficult to tell it's white because it's wrapped, and you may see the Xfinity logo with advertisements for different TV shows. From time to time, you may see a pickup truck as well. Those are usually the supervisors, and sometimes they go out to the homes as well. But 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a white van, and they'll always clearly be marked with either the Xfinity or the Comcast logo.
The vehicle will be parked in front of your house. They will park their vehicle as close to wherever it is that they're working, and they will always sit out cones, both front and rear, for safety.
And when Comcast come out, do they wear lanyards, or how can someone identify them? Probably not.
Yeah, I know it's kind of difficult to see, particularly in the back, but their ID is going to look something like mine and Mr. Gleason's hands on. It's going to have a picture of the person that's coming to your house, and it's going to have Comcast at the top of it. And again, if you ever, in doubt or you're not sure who that person is, you can always call 1-800-COMCAST and ask them, okay, who is this person at my door? And they can tell you who it is and what their name is.
Very good. Comcast, everybody. Thank you very much.
Good job. Thank you. Yes. Very nice entrance, very nice. Get a little tease with the first guy, and then we got ComEd come out. So, thank you. Can you introduce yourself, and who do you work for?
My name is John Vikas, and I work for ComEd, and I'm a meter reader.
All right. Thank you, ComEd. Is there ever a time when you would show up at somebody's house unannounced?
As a meter reader, we do not enter anybody's property unannounced. So, like every time we go to the yard, we'll say ComEd or electric or meter reader. So, because we go from yard to yard, so it's very hard. We do not announce ourselves going to yard. And if your meter, let's say, was in your house, we would knock on your door and then ask you, to come in to proceed to read your meter. So we do not come to the house unannounced ever. So.
All right. What is the average uniform that a person working for ComEd would wear?
The attire that I'm wearing today is we'll have a ComEd vest on. You might see some dog spray with us for the dogs, and then also we'll have an umbrella. We'll be in khaki pants or possibly jeans, work boots. We'll also have safety glasses on us. So just some small details that you'll notice with that's part of our uniform that you could stand out and pick. So if the guy you see him walking around and doesn't have something that doesn't look right, and also the ComEd vest also has the logo in the top left corner of the chest, and then also on the back of the vest, ComEd is on the back of the vest also. And we have our field ID displayed at all times.
And lastly, about your vehicle, what does it look like and where would you park it?
We drive white vehicles with a red ComEd logo on the side of the car. We could have a small sized car or a mid-sized car, depending. And also, our temporary meter readers at this time, they're driving their personal vehicles. So if you see a ComEd employee with this on the side of their car, in the front of their window, or in the rear of their window, or on either side of their doors, this is still considered a ComEd employee vehicle. It's just our temporary employees do not have ComEd vehicles at the time. So just to give you a better idea of what to look for if you see it.
Alrighty.
And then I also, if for whatever reason I put the door cards out to show you that if a meter reader is attempting to read the property and there's like your gates locked, dogs in the yard, or for whatever reason shrubbery, bushes that are in the way that are blocking the meter, and you are not home, as the customer is not home, we will mark the door card and leave it on your front door, and then you could call 1-800-EDISON-1 and then call it in, and then we'll come back out, try to attempt to read it the next time, so you do not get an estimated bill. Or you can set up an appointment also. So there's the red door cards that are on the front of your table right now.
All right, very, very good. Thank you, John. ComEd. Thanks a lot. Who could be next. There he goes. Very good, very good. What an entrance. Very, very impressive, very impressive. Well, can you introduce yourself? Who do you work for? And I'm sure some of these girls want your phone number.
Phone number's off the table. My name is Mark. I work for AT&T on the Uverse side of the house.
All right, Mark, thank you. Is there ever a time when you would show up at somebody's house unannounced?
Almost every day we have to work in your backyards of your neighbors' homes or anything like that to provide you with service. If at any time we do need to get into your backyard, we will knock on your door. We will have our orange vests on. We always have our identification cards, so if you have a question, just ask for it and we will provide it to you.
Very good. And would you ever need to get inside somebody's house?
Typically not unless we're performing service for you, but if you work or if you live in an apartment complex or anything like that, there are house cables that run through every unit, so we may have to access your unit at that time. But again, no worries. If you ask for our IDs, we will provide them for you.
Can you touch on your uniform? Your uniform would normally, you would always have your logo? Any identifications in the back of your shirt, or is it normally in the front?
It's always on the front of the shirt. The vest will have AT&T on the back of it. You will see the Rethink Possible with the AT&T logo, and then also AT&T Uverse on our sleeves. We have multiple shirts. Some are the sky blue, others are bright orange. They're always going to be bright in color unless it's winter time. Then we have our dark navy long sleeve shirts with the same logos and everything else on there for you to see.
All right, very good. And you mentioned that you would always have your identification with you. And lastly, about your vehicle. What does it look like and where would you park it?
Our vehicles are typically vans. There's a lot of pickup trucks with the cabs covered. We always have our ladders on the top. We have multiple different vehicles for different purposes. Typically, if we're going to service your house or your neighbor or anywhere near you, we're going to be parked in front of the location where we're working. If we're working down the street, you're going to see us walking, but typically we're no further than a couple doors away from where we're actually performing our work.
All right, very good. Thank you, AT&T. Thank you.
I don't know where he's at. Can you please introduce yourself and tell everybody where you work?
My name is Neil Berkowitz. They call me Axe. I work for the finest fire district in the nation, ISO Class 1 Lion Works Fire District.
Axe. Where'd you get that nickname?
I like breaking things. I picked it up.
Please don't come to my house. Okay. Is there ever a time where you might come to someone's home unannounced?
You know what? I don't just break physical things, I break hearts. That's mainly what I got. But I would show up on unannounced. Sometimes people call 911, it might be your neighbor, they may call 911, and we may not be able to make entry in their home. So we may come to your home and ask you, have you seen them? When's the last time you saw them? Things of that nature. Also, if you have a fault button sometimes, you press those on accident, you don't realize it, and we may show up, knock on the door, making sure everything's okay. Someone in your house in the basement may call 911, your husband, your daughter, someone else in the home, and you may see us pull up in the fire engines, and we may there to help somebody else. So we just always ask for cooperation to open the door and let us in, because we're always smiling, having a good time.
Just like the police. When would you ever need to get into someone's home? Can you give us an example of that?
Well, it's very obvious. Whenever there's an emergency, people call 911 when they need help. That's usually not the greatest day of their life. So if someone has a medical emergency, you're calling us, you want us to come into your home. There might be also some hazard that your neighbor called on, that they saw smoke coming from something, or there's smelling gas in the area. We may want to come in your home and investigate what's causing that problem to mitigate.
Well, it's pretty easy to kind of see what you wear, but can you kind of describe your... Yeah, describe that.
Depending on what kind of call would come onto your home, we may be dressed just like this. We look very similar to police officers. We get mistaken all the time. The best way to tell us apart is a fireman's smile. We may be wearing our jackets and our helmets and stuff like that, you know, and then you can really tell what we look like. Just like we're going to work for a fire or something like that, if there's just smoke in the building, something like that. We'll be wearing all this gear and you can tell us like that.
The reason why God created policemen, so firemen would have heroes as well.
Okay, can you give us a description of all the different types of vehicles that you guys and girls drive, ladies drive, and what they look like? And where would you park them in any particular situation?
Most of the time we're going to come blaring on the street, lights going, sirens blasting, you're going to see us coming. Our vehicles are yellow. If you live in Lisle, if you live in Naperville, and they're responding to your home, they are red. We do have an ambulance, looks like a bread truck basically. I'm sure you've all seen an ambulance before. Also our fire engine and the fire truck. Does anyone know the difference between a fire engine and a fire truck? Nobody knows the difference? Take a shot. They could be bigger. Well, the fire engine holds the water. So it holds the water, the fire engine. The fire truck has a big ladder on top. So that's the way you tell the difference. We also have little cars that are for the chiefs and the kind of people that think they're in charge, kind of pretend they'll figure them out. If you see them, go ahead and try to block them from getting to where we're going, because it'll help us out, okay? Most of the time when we're going to your home though, we're going to be coming right in front of your house. We're going to go right to where the emergency is. Hopefully the cops don't block the house. Sometimes they like to pretend they're firemen. They want to save somebody. Okay? That's the one thing you're never going to find is a fireman that wants to be a policeman. So we're going to park right in front of the house usually, and you'll see us down the street. There's usually a myriad of us. On an ambulance call, if you call for an ambulance, you're going to see a fire engine show up also, or a fire truck. That's because we have on our fire engines or fire trucks, we have paramedics on there also. And they have all the safe equipment that the ambulance can do on there. And let's say they're at the hospital, come back from a call, to start treating you or your loved ones, to start getting them better before the ambulance gets there and takes them to the hospital.
Well, thank you, Neil. Thank you. Lisle Woodridge Fire Department.
The dancing just gets better and better. Just making something out of it. Okay, quite the intro. Can you introduce yourself and tell everyone who you work for?
Hi, my name is Eric Jacobs. I work for Nicor Gas.
Okay.
pick up.
Thank you. Is there ever a time when you might show up at someone's home unannounced?
Approximately every other month, our meter readers will show up at your house unannounced, unless of course you make an appointment. Most of your meter sets are going to be on the side of your house, either the left side or the right side, sometimes in the back, sometimes in the front, and we'll show up unannounced about every other month.
Something to look forward to. Is there ever a time that you might need to get into someone's house, actually inside?
Actually, out here in this region, most of your meter sets are outside. However, there may be a time where your meter set is located inside, and at that point, we would want to gain access in order to give you an accurate reading. If there is a gas leak investigation and you contact us, we will have to get in order to make sure that your house is safe.
Can you describe your uniform and your identification for us?
Most Nicor gas employees wear pretty much what they want. However, what will set us apart from everyone else is everyone's going to have a vest on. And then on our vest, you'll see our logo on the back here. In addition to the vest, if it's an operations mechanic, they're going to have a hard hat on, and they also have an ID around their neck.
What's an operations mechanic?
Okay.
Sounds serious.
All right, so we have operations mechanics, and what they do is they come out and they do various work at your house. So say if you had to turn on, if they had to turn your gas on, if they had to turn your gas off for any reason, if they had to do a leak investigation, the person that will show up to your home will be an operations mechanic. That person will come in and make sure everything was safe for you.
Okay. Two things. I see there's something attached to your vest. And in addition to that, what kind of vehicles do you guys and girls drive, and what do they look like, and where would you park them when you come to the call?
Sure. All right. As the comment stated, they also have dog spray like we do, and this is to protect us from dogs just in case they're outside or if they're straying or anything like that. Also, our vehicles are all white. Most vehicles are going to have the new Nicor AGL Resources logo on them. And if you're a meter reader, you may park it at the beginning of a neighborhood, walk the entire neighborhood while you're reading meters. If you call us out to you, typically we'll park in front of your home, and then we'll come inside and ask what we can do to help. Also, we have, for our distribution crews, we have larger trucks that carry equipment on it so that we can address any leaking or maintenance issues that the community may have.
Thank you very much. Eric from Nicor, everybody.
Dispatch, I was taking the back.
What? You want to go check real quick? There you go. Very nice entrance. Hi, can you introduce yourself and tell us who do you work for?
Hi, my name is Lydia. I'm working for Illinois American Water in Woodridge, Illinois. I'm customer service and meter reader.
All right, American Water.
Yes.
Is there ever a time when you would show up at somebody's house unannounced?
Actually, we got many orders every day, and mostly it's an appointment, especially if we have to change the meter or check meter doesn't work like supposed to work. So if it's appointment, we always call. So we always call and we let know the customer we are on the way, and approximately time like 15-20 minutes we will be in the house. So this is mostly, sometimes we have to do something outside, like we shut off the water, the people move out. So is anybody home? So we just check if we shut off the water, we check the faucet, we sure 100% the water is off.
Okay, very good. And you touch base on this. If you would have to enter somebody's house to check the water, to change the meter, to check, for whatever reason, you would always make an appointment. if it's something that would you show up if you would ever not make an appointment and have to go into somebody's house?
Yes, sometimes it's a situation like we read meters and for some reason one or two houses computer doesn't pick up.
Okay.
So we go and we knock on the door. If customer is not home, we got always tag and we leave the tag in the door. If customer is home, sometimes especially in the summertime, people are outside. So they let us go. They said, why I have to call if you are here? Please check my meter.
Very good. And what is the average uniform that a person would wear?
And as you see, we got always vest on the top and the t-shirt with our logo. And the West Guard on the back also Illinois American Water. And jeans. Always badge, we got always badge, so don't let come on your house the person from Illinois American Water without this. They always supposed to show this.
Okay, very good, thank you. And about your vehicle, what does it look like and where would you park it?
Okay, our vehicles is pickup truck, white color, on the side, both sides, they got same logo, Illinois American Water, and on the back door is the customer service. So we park on the front of the house, in the safety place, if we can, if the street is busy, so we ask the customer, can we park on their driveway? Usually they let us.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you, Illinois American Water, thank you very much. Wow, very nice entrance. Just before I start with the questions, I'm just curious, who would win in a fight? Wow, AT&T, or Comcast? My money's going on Wow. All right, can you introduce yourself and tell us who you work for?
Yes, my name is Mark Lowry, and I work for Wow Internet Cable and Phone.
Very good, thank you, Mark. And is there ever a time when you would show up at somebody's house unannounced?
Yes, indeed. There's actually a few cases that myself, as a quality control technician, may show up, or even one of my maintenance technicians may show up unannounced because they need to work in the back.
Very good. And would you ever have to get inside somebody's home after you showed up unannounced?
In some cases, yes, because my maintenance department, they need to make sure our infrastructure is working properly. So sometimes they may not necessarily be parked in front of your house, but you may notice that their truck is down the street, but they will tap on your door just to make sure that you're aware that they're in your backyard.
Very good, thank you, Mark. And what is the average uniform that a person that works for WOW would be wearing?
Well, Mike, an average employee from WOW, they would usually have a polo shirt on. At WOW, we're actually very colorful and happy, so there's going to be a variety of colors. You may see a blue shirt like I have on myself. We have orange, we have tan, green. The colors go on and on. And then if you're able to, in the back there, I have one of my sales reps. His name is John. You'll see a polo shirt like that as well. It has a little bit of more detail. And even more so, no matter what type of polo or a button-up shirt that they do have on, you're going to notice that they have the WOW emblem on it, as well as that representative is going to have their ID badge present.
Okay, so your ID will have the information, it will have your picture. Could you explain a little bit more about what your identification card looks like?
On our identification card, it has our WOW logo at the top. It has a picture of our beautiful face on it. And then also it has our full name and the location that we work out of.
Very good. Thank you. And lastly, the vehicle. What does it look like and where would you be parking it when you're responding to somebody's house?
What you actually see from a quality control technician or a field service technician is a full-size van. Now our vans, they are white, and then also we have a blue van. They actually call it the ice cream truck, that's what it reminds everybody of. And then also we have a orange and black truck as well, which they call it the big bumblebee. In addition to that, you may actually see a big bucket truck outside your house or down the block. That's for our maintenance department. And they actually have a bucket and also extension ladders located on them.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark from WOW. Very nice. I love this story. This is a true story. I'm going to educate everybody here in this room of why the whole... You ever hear about the cops at Dunkin' Donuts? You ever hear that story? Yes, by the chuckle, I can tell you heard that story before. This is where that story originated from. Years ago, when you were like little boys and girls, back before there were computers in the vehicles, all the officers, computers in the squad cars, before that, all the officers had to handwrite all their reports. So let's just say there's an officer, he's working midnights, and he goes to a call, he goes to a fight call, he goes to there's a car crash, maybe there's a domestic battery, maybe there's a whole variety of different police calls that police officers go to, maybe to help somebody, for whatever reason. So the officer goes on at midnight, he gets done at 8 in the morning, well he has to handwrite all those reports. About 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, everything starts slowing down, all the bad guys start going to sleep. So what do? They have to handwrite the reports. What's open, what's a well-lit place where they can get a cup of coffee and maybe a snack? Dunkin' Donuts, exactly. So as a lot of people are driving to work in the morning, everybody works at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you're on your way to work. Every day I drive by that Dunkin' Donuts shop. Look at all the cops over there hanging out there every morning. That's where that story came from. That's why the story about the cops at the Dunkin' Donuts shop started out. True story. You all feel safe now, don't you? Look at this. What just entered the room. I feel safer. So, what is your name and who do you work for?
My name is Corporal Sheedy. I work for the DuPage County Sheriff's Office.
Very good. Why would you be at somebody's house unannounced?
Unannounced call could be comprised of a couple different things. Maybe a passerby, a neighbor called on something in the neighborhood pertaining to the house you live in, where the officer may come up to the house, or it may just be officer patrolling the neighborhood may see something that perks his interest, where he needs to go up to the house and talk to the homeowner as well.
Very good. Is there any reason why you would have to go inside the house?
Yeah, depending on, again, nature of the call. If it was something where we figured it was a safety issue, we may want to go into the house and make sure things are okay. So there are certain instances where we would want to go in the house after we go there and introduce ourselves.
Okay, how do you ID yourself? How do you ID yourself?
We have a variety. We have officers that are uniformed officers, which are wearing what I wear, all navy blue. We have gold 5-star badges. Some of us have patches instead of the badges. We have detectives that wear plain clothes, that's dress attire that might be slacks, with a dress shirt, a tie. They would be identified as well with, usually they have a badge that they wear clipped on their belt, the gun, or they might have the badge around the neck, but it would say DuPage County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, can you describe the vehicles that somebody at the DuPage County Sheriff's Office would be driving?
We have a couple different types of vehicles. Recently, we're trying to transition over to sport utility vehicles They're navy blue in color. On the side, big black lettering that says sheriff. And we still have quite a few Crown Vic 4-door sedans that are set up the same way. They're navy blue with the blue lettering on the side that say sheriff. Some of them have gold lettering that say sheriff. We have a variety of unmarked vehicles. Of course, some of them may look like a common everyday car, and there's no markings on those. And most of our marked vehicles also have, full light bars and everything on it. Some of them don't have the light bars, but for the most part, most of them do.
And as a patrol officer, if you respond to somebody's house, where would you park your vehicle?
Depending on the type of call, sometimes it's an officer safety issue where they may not park in front of the house. We may park a couple houses down where the vehicle's not in sight, or we could park right in front of the house if it's just a call that we're coming to do a follow-up on to talk to somebody. So there's a variety of places we could park. The car may be in line of sight, it might not be.
All right, thank you very much. Mike Sheehy, Corporal Mike Sheehy, DuPage County Sheriff's Office.
We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll.
It's all you. You. The Village of Lyle. The Village of Lyle. Yeah, is there a last one? I think so. Is this the last one? I think so. Last one?
All right, it looks like we saved the best for last. Can you explain could you tell us who you were and where you work?
Yes, my name is Stacy Crockett, and I work for the Village of Lyle. I work for the Community Development Department. I'm a building inspector, and I also do code enforcement.
Very cool. When I see you have a badge on you.
I do.
Okay. Is there ever a time when you might show up at someone's home unannounced?
Yes, I actually do that a lot. For code enforcement, we get complaints sometimes about certain issues, and I go out on those, and also on building inspections. I go out for sometimes scheduled inspections, and sometimes they're not scheduled, so yes.
Okay. These inspections, would you have to go inside the house, or is there ever a time that you might have to do that?
Yes, I go in on scheduled building inspections, and also when they have complaints or issues, sometimes I have to ask them if they'll let me in.
What is the average uniform or clothing that you would wear?
Well, I don't have a uniform, I just wear regular street clothes, but I do have a badge, and I do have a identification card that shows that I work for the Village of Lyle with a picture on it and my name.
What kind of vehicles do you drive? And where would you park them if you had to go to someone's home?
I have a silver Ford Escort that I drive. There are other pickup trucks that the village uses that are silver as well. We also have a logo on the side of the vehicles that show that we work for the Village of Lyle. And normally I park right in front of the house or even sometimes in the driveway.
Very good, thank you very much. Village of Lyle.
Do the model walk? Let's do the model walk. Okay, I'd like to get our actors up here one more time so you got one last look at them. Come on up, actors. A little faster, Rose, a little faster. Up here. Waves. thank you, actors. Thank you, seniors. Thank you, senior facilities that constantly give us information. Thank you, officers, firemen. This has been a great event. First time ever. I think we hit a home run, I'm pretty sure. So, thank you, everybody here.
There is more.
Well, we have more, but this completes the fashion show. Thank you, everybody that's up here.